G'day divers and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a bit of an unboxing of the LetonPower L15. Now full disclosure, it's not a sponsored video, but LetonPower did send me this L15 after they saw my video on the L12. So I bought the L12s myself and made a video. I'll link it up here if you're interested in that. And they saw that video and said would I be interested in trying out the L15, and I said why not. I have told them though that I will be doing full and frank reviews. This review is just going to be on the unboxing, so I haven't used it yet. I have a trip coming up very shortly to New Zealand to do some wreck diving on my rebreather, and I'll be using these lights on that trip, and I will then do a full review of the lights afterwards, pros and cons, and I'll be brutally honest, I sure as hell not going to sell my soul over a cheap light from Amazon. But it is very nice of them to send me one to let me do this review for you. I would have been using the L12s on that trip anyway, but the L15 is just a slightly stronger light. So let's see what you get when it comes. It comes in a nice cardboard box. Now the thing I liked about the L12, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same when I open this L15, is I think it's amazing what you get for the money. Like, if you buy a lot of the other cheap lights off Amazon or eBay, you sure wouldn't be getting this nice case to start with. They are about 20 or 30% more to buy than the cheap no-name lights from eBay and Alibaba. But you've got a company to go back to. They were responsive to my emails, and it's just a little bit nicer. I think it's definitely worth the extra money. And these are still crazily cheap lights. Like, they are way, way, way cheaper than going out and buying brand name lights. If you were going to go buy a big blue light, it's going to cost you at least 4 times this. And I don't really rate big blue lights. I think all you're doing is paying extra for a Chinese light. If you're going to start getting into actual proper named brand lights, you're going to start paying 10 times or more, 15 times as much as you are for one of these lights. So crazy value for money, and just a little bit better quality than just getting your no-name brands off eBay. So you get this really nice pouch. It's the same as my L12. It'll be custom designed. Yep, it is custom designed for the light. So it has a little holder. It's going to make traveling. I've got a lot of trips coming up this year, going to Indo after New Zealand, and being able to put my lights nice and securely in a padded, perfectly designed box makes a lot of difference. It even has the little latch just to stop it from moving around. Next thing I like is that it's just a lot better construction than all the cheap Amazon and eBay lights I've had over the years. Fairly similar design, don't get me wrong. The 2-button design where you've got 3 lots of white power on the left and you've got the red and blue button on the right. But the first thing you note that's really nice is that it actually has symbols on the buttons, because the cheap lights don't, and I constantly forget which button is which, especially when you have them on opposite sides, which makes it a bit more confusing. So it's really nice just to have that little symbol. It's just a little thing, but it's nice. I can glance over and check I'm pressing the right button. And it also has the batteries slightly different. I am really enjoying this system. The other ones, you put 4 18650s actually from this end, and you have to screw it onto the head. I have had problems with threading. I have had problems with the plate in the head wearing out because the batteries screw up against the head. But with this design, the batteries go in a little casing, which is also a charger, which is really cool. So that I can plug in. They give you the cable. If I look in here, I guarantee the cable's in here. So there is a nice USB-C cable that plugs straight into your charger and charges the batteries that comes with it. These are 21700s, so you got 3 of them. They are bigger than the 18650s, so the standard cheap eBay lights will come with 4 18650s. And LetonPower do make lights the lower style, so slightly smaller with the 4 18650s if you prefer, and they are cheaper too. But I'm actually enjoying these 21700s, and it gives me a couple of advantages. One, I like having that extra inbuilt charger. So you just plug it in and it will charge with those three. So when I'm traveling, I can take 2 lots or 3 lots, and I'll have one charger that charges 6 batteries, and I can chuck some batteries in there to charge. And when I get to night, I just pull these out and I've got another couple of chargers. And it's a lot less to carry, especially when I'm traveling, and I can stick that charger inside. Now, whether you use the batteries that LetonPower supply you with, all these Chinese lithiums are never what they say they are. So, you know, I would buy another set. I have a couple of brands that I prefer. I will do a video on batteries at some point, but you know, really, as long as it gets you through a dive, I always swap my batteries between dives. It's just the thing I've done. It really, as long as you can carry enough batteries, you might as well. If you use them on 2 dives, it's only going to take twice as long to charge them anyway afterwards. So I'd rather have a set of batteries for every dive and then just have them charge quicker. So I always take a few sets. So that's a really nice thing. And the other thing is, I mean, this charger, it's got a little light. It'll light red and green to tell you it's charged. You can store it in here, and the thing I like, goes in. It is not twisting onto the head. There's no connectors to twist it onto. So you then have, instead of having just the two O-rings that you have in the standard eBay lights, you've now got 2 there and a third one in this cap. And it's also only one area. A lot of the others, they actually screw from both ends, which gives you another failure point. So this only has one failure point. And when I put it on, I've got no pressure. I'm not pushing against the springs like with the other cheap eBay lights. And the good thing is, there's no pressure. You can see there, that is no pressure. I have found with the ones where you've got to push against the batteries, that because it's an aluminium housing, which it should be, is that you're pushing and sooner or later they'll start to wear and you'll cross thread them. Nearly every light I've ever owned off eBay or Alibaba has actually, if I haven't dropped it, has ended because I've ended up cross-threading it too much and it's impossible to close anymore. So I like that feature. I also like it has a little on-off section, so you can tell when it's on and when it's off. And it's really nice because what you'll find with all the lights is if you twist them all the way on, then they will actually be discharging the batteries. So if you're using the other ones, I just untwist them, but it's easy to forget that they aren't fully locked because there's nothing that shows you've untwisted it, and there's nowhere to sort of give you an indicator, whereas on this one it has power off. So you switch it to there and the light doesn't work anymore, then you tighten it up and voila, light is on. So I really like that little feature. It gives you a good spot to know that it's off, and you can now move around with it without knocking it on, because none of these lights are designed to be used above water. So if you accidentally switch any underwater light nearly on the surface, it will quickly burn out. It needs the water to cool it down. They are very bright lights. The other things you're going to get in here is a little lanyard if you want to use that, but it's nice. It's got its own little pouch. You've got the USB-C cable. Comes with a little bit of silicone grease for your O-rings, in fact a fair bit in a little container. It comes with spare O-rings. It comes with the Allen key to put the ball joint on, and the ball joint. So the ball joint is in here. If we take that out, we're going to have to install it anyway, so we might as well install it now. So you get the little ball joint. There's your spare O-rings. Ball joints in here. Take the ball joint out, and then there's a nice stainless steel screw and an Allen key, and that simply screws on the one thread into the bottom of the light to enable you to attach it to your generic size ball joints. Now the L15 is a different light pattern. The L12 was the cob light. Now I really do like cob lights. They're slightly better color, I would say, on them. They tend to be warmer, and the L12 certainly is slightly warmer than this. That is normal, but it isn't quite as powerful. So the one reason I'm looking forward to this on the wreck is in a wreck or a cave, having a more powerful, cooler light is fine. the color is not there. The wreck is generally not a colorful thing, and neither is a cave, not like a reef is. So I don't really care that I've got a slightly cooler light. It really makes no difference, but the cooler light gives more punch anyway, on top of the fact that this is 10,000 lumens rather than 8,000 lumens. This comes with a really good CRI, and I find with the 21700s they run nicely. I haven't sat them in a bath and checked whether or not they run for as long as they say. Really, that comes down to the batteries that you put in them, and unless you're going to go out and buy brand name batteries from a reputable business, say in Australia or America, then all those batteries you buy off Amazon and eBay, you can't trust any of the specs that are in them. They're not even close. In fact, a lot of them are well above what's actually possible anyway. So before uploading this video, I did manage to get out for one dive. I wanted to test them once before I head to New Zealand next week. I'm going away for a tech wreck dive, and I didn't want to find out whether these lights worked on the first dive of an expensive trip. I recommend you always try everything out before you head overseas. Try it in a pool or a bathtub if that's all you've got, or preferably get out in the ocean. This was pretty ordinary conditions. I had maybe 3 meters vis, a lot of surge and a lot of particles in the water. I used wet lenses and the lights at only quarter to half power to try and get a little as possible as far as all the particles in the water. Certainly didn't bring them all out, but I still managed to get some okay shots. But this was really only to try out the L15s, make sure that they worked, and get an idea of how consistent they are. And so far I'm very happy with the way they're going. The two lights matched quite nicely, although I'd like to see more when I do the real wide-angled stuff when I get to the wreck next week. So I'll be having way more videos on this and letting you know my thoughts, because until you really start shooting it in nice wide angle, will you see whether there's any inconsistencies between the two lights. But very happy with the way they worked out so far. This is really only quarter power on those nudibranchs, and there is no change to the white balance in post. This is straight out of the camera, the way the GoPro filmed it. So if you're interested in seeing how these go underwater, I'll be heading to New Zealand. I'll have those videos up. It's going to take a little bit because obviously I've got to get over there, I've got to film it, and then I've got to get it all edited. But stay tuned for those videos. You'll see these lights in action, and then I'll be doing a full review video on them. So until next time, keep blowing bubbles, and don't forget, the deeper you go, the further you get away from all those idiots.